Have you ever noticed how the moment you reveal your feelings, something shifts, not always in your favor? Suddenly, they have the upper hand, the sympathy turns into strategy, the connection weaponized. Niccolo Machiavelli warned, "Never reveal your true intentions, not out of cruelty, but out of survival. Because in the wrong hands, your honesty becomes ammunition." This isn't about becoming heartless, it's about becoming strategic, because if the wrong people know what shakes you, they'll never stop shaking you. Honesty is sold as a virtue, and in many ways it is. But what no one tells you is that radical honesty, when misplaced, can become a trap. A seductive one, because it feels like truth. It feels like bravery. But not every battlefield deserves your banner. As children, we're taught to speak our truth, to be emotionally open, to wear our hearts on our sleeves. But that lesson only works in safe rooms, and most rooms are not safe. You learn this in fragments. The first time you admit fear, and they mock you. The first time you reveal your longing, and they withdraw. The first time you confess love, and they flinch. Not because your feelings were wrong, but because your honesty revealed your blueprint. People are trained, sometimes unconsciously, to see vulnerability as leverage. They don't mean to weaponize your truth, but they do. Because in a world obsessed with advantage, knowledge becomes control. This is the paradox Machiavelli understood, that power is preserved not by what you show, but by what you withhold. He warned not to reveal your intentions, not because honesty is immoral, but because most people don't know what to do with your truth, except bend it to their benefit. Modern culture worships openness. Share your story. Speak your truth. Be vulnerable. And yes, that has value. But not when the audience is unqualified. Not when the receiver sees your heart as a roadmap to manipulate you. You must begin to differentiate between intimacy and information, between connection and confession. Because not everyone who asks how you're feeling deserves an answer. You tell them about your anxiety, your overthinking, your trauma. You think you're building trust. But what you're often doing is building their strategy. The narcissist doesn't attack with fists. They wait. They mirror. They listen to your truths until they've memorized the exact sequence of your insecurities. Then when you finally confront them, they don't need to scream. They just press the buttons you handed them, one by one. This is the game. And every time you speak without discernment, you give away pieces of your advantage. You think you're building bridges, but some people are only counting your planks. The most dangerous person in the room is not the loud one. It's the quiet one, the one who speaks little, reveals nothing, and listens for patterns. They study, they note, they let you bleed words, and when the time comes, they'll use your vocabulary against you. Silence is not weakness. It is presence. It is power withheld until precision is required. Every time you overshare, you dilute your position. Every explanation is a small surrender. Every confession is a breadcrumb. And eventually, someone will follow the trail, not to understand you, but to undo you. We live in a culture where expression is confused with empowerment, where blurting your trauma is seen as authenticity. But true power is rarely loud. It's strategic. It knows when to speak and when to remain unreadable. Machiavelli didn't write about silence to promote emotional coldness. He wrote about it to preserve influence, to protect your motives, to guard your intentions like a fortress. Because once they know what you love, they can threaten it. Once they know what you fear, they can trigger it. Once they know what you need, they can control the flow. This is not paranoia. This is precision. You were taught that transparency is always noble, but in truth, it is neutral. It depends on the context and the recipient. A surgeon wields a scalpel to heal. A thief wields it to cut. It is the same blade. Your honesty is that blade. So ask yourself, who is holding it when you speak? Emotional intelligence isn't about spilling your feelings everywhere. It's about knowing who is capable of holding them and who is waiting to use them. You don't owe anyone your inner world. especially not those who demand it early. Fast intimacy is often a red flag, not a sign of depth. You are not cold for being private. You are not arrogant for being selective. You are not cruel for observing before revealing. You are strategic. You are awake. You are no longer handing out pieces of yourself like samples. You understand now. They trained you to equate honesty with connection, but for many, your feelings were never a door to walk through. They were a mirror to shatter when they felt small. So you speak less. You reveal slowly. You ask more questions than you answer. And the moment someone pressures you to share, you listen to what that urgency is masking. Because real connection never demands. It waits. It earns. This isn't about building walls. It's about choosing who deserves the key. Because in the end, your silence is not emptiness. It's strategy. It's survival. It's your shield against a world that often uses understanding as a form of control. In the next section, we go deeper. How emotions are not just felt, but traded. How some people use your feelings as currency to manipulate perception, status, and control. We explore the hidden economy of emotional exposure and how to bankrupt their leverage before it begins. Your emotions are not just feelings. In the wrong environment, they become currency, negotiated, spent, traded, and in many cases, stolen. The moment someone realizes your emotions hold social value, they begin to collect them like coins. This is how emotional economies work. You reveal a fear. They gain a handle. You express pain. They gain a narrative. You share a dream. They gain a lever. Insecure people, those who can't generate their own significance, often borrow yours. And nothing is more potent than the feelings you haven't yet mastered. In manipulation, the most effective weapon isn't force, it's empathy. Faked, it's the pretense of closeness. The illusion that you can tell me anything, because the moment you believe they understand you, you stop protecting yourself. And in that quiet moment, when your defenses drop, they begin to trade. Your fears become their script. Your hopes become their bait. Your confessions become their collateral. Think of the coworker who asks about your stress, then casually mentions it to the boss. The friend who remembers your insecurity and waits until it hurts most to bring it up. The partner who tells you they're just being honest, but only when it's your pain being dissected, not theirs. These people are not seeking intimacy, they're managing optics, because in the social arena, emotions signal status. He who appears strongest controls the narrative, and so they push you to speak first, to feel first, to bleed first, because if you're reactive, they're composed. If you're emotional, they're rational. If you're vulnerable, they're perceived as powerful. This is the false binary, and it's everywhere. We praise stoicism not because it's noble, but because it creates contrast. The more emotionally exposed you are, the more emotionally superior they appear, by comparison. But what you must understand is this. There is a difference between being sensitive and being available. You can feel everything and still share nothing. Machiavelli understood this dynamic well. He advised leaders to appear compassionate, but never to let compassion dictate their strategy. Why? Because to lead, one must navigate deception without drowning in it. Emotions may be real, but they are also manipulatable. And those who cry the loudest often hold the sharpest knives. So how do you take your emotional currency back? You stop playing the open book. You become the encrypted letter. You listen with empathy, but respond with discretion. You delay your disclosures until patterns prove their trustworthiness. You begin to treat your emotions as assets, not gifts. And you invest them only where the return is trust, not leverage. Every emotional exposure is a transaction. And just like money, you don't throw it to strangers and hope for return. You save it, you protect it, you grow it with those who earn the right to know it. There is a reason powerful people say little. There is a reason great negotiators never reveal what they're willing to lose. There is a reason Machiavelli wrote, The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. You must look closely. Who benefits when you speak? Who becomes calmer, more confident, more in control the moment you express doubt? Who changes the subject when the spotlight turns back to them? These are not friends, these are tacticians, and the best tactic against them is not to fight. It's to close the vault. They cannot use what they cannot access. They cannot manipulate what they do not know. They cannot distort a silence you refuse to break. This is not coldness, it's calibration, because there are people who will love your truth, but they don't ask for it, they earn it. They don't interrogate, they listen, they don't demand it all at once. They meet your pace, they match your weight. They hold your words like something fragile, not something functional. Until then, stay unreadable, stay observing, stay grounded, speak when you mean it, and protect the words you don't. You are not a story to be consumed. You are a fortress with one gate, and it opens inward. You are not weak for being silent. You are not distant for being selective. You are practicing emotional sovereignty. You are reclaiming authorship over your narrative. In the next section, we go beyond silence. We explore how power is built, not just through what you hide, but what you project, and how crafting mystery, presence, and detachment is the key to psychological dominance in any room. We explore how power is built not just through what you hide, but what you project, and how crafting mystery, presence, and detachment is the key to psychological dominance in any room. True power doesn't announce itself. It walks into the room without needing to speak. It doesn't seek approval. It doesn't chase. It emanates. We've been conditioned to associate power with volume. Louder voices, more words, constant explanations. But those who truly influence others rarely rely on words. They control the room through presence, not persuasion, through posture, not pleading, through silence, pregnant with certainty. Machiavelli understood that the strongest leaders weren't always the most talkative, they were the most unreadable. Their power came from the tension they created, not the stories they shared. Because when you don't know what someone is thinking, you start to project. You fill the silence with your own fears, desires, and insecurities. And in doing so, you give them power. Mystery triggers imagination, and imagination is more persuasive than any argument. When you leave gaps in your presence, people rush to fill them. They assume depth, they assume confidence. They begin to orbit around your stillness, wondering what you know that they don't. Think about the people who make you lean in. They don't spill everything at once. They reveal in layers. They speak less, but say more. Their restraint becomes gravity. Their control becomes influence. This isn't about playing games. It's about conserving power. It's about understanding that energy, once leaked, cannot be taken back. The more you reveal, the more predictable you become. And predictability in psychological warfare is a weakness. The powerful don't just know what to say, they know when to say nothing. When you master the art of controlled presence, you become untouchable. Your silence unnerves those who rely on control. Your gaze unsettles those who thrive on validation. Your detachment disorients those who expect emotional obedience. Detachment is often misunderstood. It is not indifference. It is discipline. It is the refusal to be emotionally manipulated. It is the decision to respond, not react. And those who live off drama, off pulling you into their chaos, cannot survive in your stillness. Presence is more than physical. It is energetic. It's the calm that walks into the room and shifts the air. It's the clarity that makes others hesitate before they speak. It's the self-respect that makes them reconsider how they treat you. And mystery, it is the echo of restraint. It's the silence after your last word that lingers in their mind. It's the unanswered question, the boundary unspoken but deeply felt. Machiavelli warned us, if they know what you want, they can control how you move. But if they're unsure, they hesitate. And in that hesitation, you lead. Stop explaining your decisions. Start letting your results speak. Stop narrating your pain. Start healing in silence. Stop justifying your boundaries. Start embodying them without permission. You don't owe the world your emotional map. Let them learn the terrain the hard way, or not at all. The more you explain, the more you dilute your mystery. And mystery is what holds power. Mystery is what makes them return, to guess, to wonder, to try harder. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to remain aligned, even if that makes you unreadable to those who operate in chaos. Start practicing the art of strategic ambiguity. Let your tone carry more than your words. Let your pauses speak volumes. Let your energy say, "You don't need to know everything." Because when people can't place you, they can't predict you. And when they can't predict you, they can't control you. Hold your stillness like a blade. Let it shine, sharp, reflective, untouchable. Let them feel the edge without ever seeing you swing. They will wonder where you went, but you never left. You simply stopped performing. You moved from exposure to presence, from explanation to essence, from visibility to gravity. Power often lies not in what is said, but in what remains unsaid. Like a sealed envelope in plain sight, your silence makes them guess, and in guessing, they reveal themselves. This is not about hiding. This is about commanding respect without requiring attention. It's the art of existing on your own terms. The oak tree doesn't move to prove it's strong. It simply stands, and so do you. In the next section, we dive into how to deal with people who demand emotional availability and use it to destabilize your peace. We'll explore why withdrawal is not weakness and how walking away with no explanation is often the loudest answer of all. Some people do not listen to understand. They listen to measure, they listen to record. And when they push you to open up, it isn't always out of concern. Often it's an unspoken test, a probe. They want to see how much control they still have. This is the paradox of modern manipulation. It wears the mask of emotional intimacy. It asks you to communicate more, to be honest, to stop shutting down. But what it really wants is your reaction. Because reaction is access, and access is leverage. Machiavelli never wrote about texting, therapy speak, or ghosting, but his core insight applies. If you speak too much, you give them the map to your mind. If you react too quickly, they learn how to move you. The weapon is no longer words, it's response. And this is why silence in the hands of the aware becomes strength. When you stop answering, when you stop explaining, when you stop correcting the story they tell about you, something shifts, not in them, in you. You become unmovable, unavailable. You withdraw not in weakness but in control. Withdrawal is often seen as retreat, but sometimes it's resurrection. It's the moment you stop allowing access to the very energy they keep draining. It's the quiet reclaiming of self-respect. You see, emotional abusers thrive on explanation. They want you in the loop, justifying, proving, chasing clarity. Because while you explain, they rest. While you react, they strategize. While you search for resolution, they grow stronger in your confusion. But when you go silent, they lose the script. They no longer know what angle to play. They can't predict your next move. And in their confusion, they reveal themselves. Silence exposes. Silence disrupts. Silence makes those who rely on noise feel lost. And yes, it will be called cruel. It will be labeled avoidance, arrogance, even cowardice. But that's only because silence removes their favorite tool, your voice. You don't need to explain your boundaries. You don't need to defend your peace. You don't need to justify your absence. Your silence is enough. Not because you're weak, but because they trained you to believe your voice is required for every closure, every fix, every flame out. It's not. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and who you truly are is not a performer for the emotionally entitled. Who you truly are does not need to narrate their pain to earn space. Who you truly are walks away when peace becomes too expensive. This is the moment you stop performing clarity for people committed to misunderstanding you. This is the moment you stop over-explaining your silence to those who never respected your voice. It is not weakness to walk away. It is the purest strength. Because silence, true, grounded silence, doesn't beg. It doesn't ask for validation. It simply exits. And those who are addicted to your reaction, they will feel the vacuum. Let them sit in the echo of what they tried to control. Let them meet the version of you who no longer dances for approval. Let them confront the void they helped create. You are not withdrawing, you are ascending. Silence is the first language of transformation. It's what happens when the soul catches its breath, when your mind stops running in circles for someone else's validation. You realize you were never too sensitive, they were too dismissive. You were never dramatic. They were emotionally unavailable. You weren't overreacting. You were being conditioned to doubt your instincts. And when you fall silent, not in anger, not in fear, but in clarity, you break the cycle. You become unpredictable. And unpredictability is the enemy of control. The people who once pulled your strings will look confused. Their tactics won't land. Their guilt won't stick. Their charm will echo into your quiet and die there, because silence is not the absence of response. It is the presence of self. And those who loved your chaos, not your calm, will drift away. Let them, because now your silence is sacred. Your solitude is sovereignty, and your absence is not a gap. It's a boundary. In the final section, we explore what happens after silence. How to rebuild identity, reclaim dignity, and project unshakable presence without saying a single word. We reveal the art of silent dominance, and why those who never respected your voice will fear your quiet rise. You've stopped explaining, you've withdrawn your emotional access, you've stepped into presence, into stillness. But what happens next? What happens after the silence? When the old you would have begged to be heard and the new you lets the silence echo. This is where dominance begins. Not with control over others, but with command over yourself. A presence so rooted it makes noise irrelevant. A power that doesn't ask to be recognized, it simply cannot be ignored. True dominance is not performance, it is alignment. It is the quiet certainty of someone who no longer chases validation because he's too focused on building something greater than attention, sovereignty. Machiavelli warned that power fades when you make yourself too familiar. People respect what they can't easily touch, what they can't fully understand, what remains just out of reach, even when it's in the room. So how do you become untouchable? You stop giving people emotional credit they haven't earned. You stop auditioning for love, recognition, or inclusion. You stop mistaking volume for value. You begin to build internally. Discipline, focus, mystery. You let your habits do the talking. Your results become your voice. Your boundaries become your biography. There's a kind of energy that walks into the room and changes the pace. Not because it's loud, but because it's undeniable. You've met people like this. The ones who seem untouchable, not because they fight, but because they never flinch. That's not a gift, that's training. That's what happens when silence is no longer a retreat, but a tool, a strategy, a signal. I don't need you to understand me. I need you to feel the gap between what you expected and what I delivered. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is what silent dominance does. It makes your unconscious reactions conscious choices. You no longer spiral in emotion. You channel it. You no longer overshare. You observe. You no longer chase. You attract by existing in stillness. And what you attract is different. Because your vibration has changed. People no longer come to test you. They approach with caution. They no longer mock your silence. They wonder what it protects. They no longer feel above you. They can't tell what game you're playing. This is not arrogance. This is clarity. you start to move differently. Fewer explanations, more execution, fewer emotional leaks, more strategic moves, fewer responses, more boundaries with no return address. And when someone tries to bait you, with guilt, confusion, chaos, they meet a wall of silence, not apathy, strength. This is the wall they can't climb because there are no handholds. You gave them nothing to grip. Silent dominance is about walking into a room and needing no defense because your presence speaks before you do. It's about letting others run their mouths while you run your life. It's about creating so much internal peace that even provocation feels like background noise. You stop participating in battles that require your emotional collapse. You stop engaging with people who only understand love when it hurts. You begin to love yourself without needing applause. You begin to create without needing permission. You begin to walk away without explaining the door behind you. And those who once mistook your silence for weakness, they start to look for signs. They replay your absence. They interpret your calm like a puzzle. But they will never solve you because you no longer explain the solution. You've become untouchable. Not because you're above them, but because you are beyond their reach. Because when silence becomes your language, dominance becomes your native tongue. And the final act of power, to no longer need to prove anything at all. You don't have to say a word. They'll feel it, and they'll never forget it. In a world addicted to noise, your silence becomes a thunderclap, a shockwave they didn't see coming. It's the quiet rebellion of someone who no longer plays by rules designed to keep them small. When they speak about you, they'll whisper, not because they fear you, but because they remember what it felt like when you stopped performing. You become the question they can't answer, the absence they can't fill, the standard they can't meet. That is silent dominance. It's not a show of power. It's proof of evolution. It's what happens when your presence becomes undeniable and your absence unforgettable. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them fill the silence with their theories. You just keep building in quiet, moving in purpose, holding your peace like armor. Because you've learned the final truth. Those who never respected your voice will tremble when they feel your silence. And that's when you'll know you are no longer part of the noise. You are the echo that stays behind. So if this spoke to the part of you that's done being underestimated, done being used for your softness, then subscribe, because this is where silence becomes power. And we're just getting started.